to strap in and get ready.
The leaders in NRL Supercoach are incoming. Bringing you the ultimate insight to help you win your leagues and climb up the rankings. You're now listening to the Insight NRL Show with your hosts, Brain, Mattrix, and Whisperer.
Yes, well, there's two things that we know. One, Tinlist Tuesday is back. Two, Brad Arthur is a fraud. You're watching the Insight NRL Show. Welcome to the second half of round one of TLT. A couple of curveballs thrown our way, but nothing too crazy or off the mark. Boys, how are we going? First of all, Mattrix, you got basketball after this. You pumped, ready to go?
Yeah. I'm ready to score the best 8 points you've ever seen in your life.
How you going, Josh? TLT throwing any curveballs for you?
I better be an efficient 8 points. I don't want to see no Jordan Poole levels of efficiency happening tonight.
Hey, did you see him today?
Did you see him today?
Handy. Tinlist Tuesday was good. Obviously, we all love to throw our hands up in the air and jump up around, but it was actually fine. Like, it wasn't that bad, like, in all honesty. I mean, apart from Brad Arthur cucking us all, everything else was pretty sweet. And we obviously got a little cheapy nugget that we weren't expecting, which is always handy.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about him very soon. Guys, the show is brought to you, as always, by long-term sponsors, The Standard Squeeze and Ryan from Astute Newstead. Make sure, and Josh has got the hat on. I've got it backwards. I probably should put it forwards. No one can really tell. Drop your questions below, guys. We are live, of course, so we will do our best to get to all of your questions at the end of the show. So drop them all in there. Have a chat. Let us know how you went throughout the weekend on Sunday as well, how you're tracking, our favourite saying. And make sure to hit subscribe and like if you haven't yet. If you're new to the show, welcome. If you're an OG, welcome back. And follow and review if you are listening to us on audio. We would really appreciate that as well. And also, if you haven't yet, you've probably been living under a rock. But if you haven't, join the Unlimited League. It's free to enter. It's 777-141. That's the code. So just chuck that one in there. They haven't separated leagues and groups this year. They've put them all together, which is great. So 777-141, Supercoach Champions ring for the winner, Standard Squeeze prize pack for the highest score every single week. I had a very quick look at who was leading, because now they update, boys, the Unlimited League midway through the round too. How good is that? So we're going to get a good idea on who's leading. So if I open up that league right now,
I can guarantee you it's not me.
It's Dave, coach of the Bloody Rabbits, and he's on 793 already, and I can probably guarantee he's picked 17 blokes to play in Vegas.
Just a full team of Rabbitohs.
Had to have been. And then Bloody Eels is second in 603. So probably didn't pick many eels.
No.
Very surprising. Guys, let's rewind. Let's talk about the Sunday games, because there's a little bit to talk about there. The rewind is brought to you by The Standard Squeeze. Guys, if you are sick of breaking glass bottles, you see the plastic, food-grade quality plastic on the screen if you're watching us on YouTube. Mattrix has got his combo pack right there. All you do is squeeze the little bottle. It fills up with a 30ml shot, the perfect shot right in the top. Mattrix likes to overpour a little bit though, so squeeze up that little chamber there and you got the perfect shot every single time. And I've got my beer nice and cold in this little 4-in-1 here. It's kind of like a thermos for your coffee, and it keeps your beer nice and cold as well. So happy days. You can use the code INSIGHT15 to get yourself 15% off everything on thestandardsqueeze.com. How'd we go, boys? How'd you go, Josh? First of all, how was the Sunday? We went to the Star. That was a fun time.
We did. Lost my voice. We were jumping up and down. I said to Aman as we were walking in, I said, could you imagine this place if Tom sends Ben over? And he's like, nah, surely won't. And we went close early, but obviously we got the actual thing happen. But yeah, I mean, I'm tracking well, our favorite saying. I'm 249 from 5. That doesn't include Gagai's AE. He was in there for a little bit. But yeah, I guess we can reveal parts of the team now because it's locked out. Started with Steely, which wasn't great. Started with Spencer Leniu, so fun. Started with Jai Arrow. You saw me firsthand how fucking distraught I was after his first hit up, and he just got up hobbling. I was not in a good way. And then seeing obviously Terrell May kill it. Guys like Turbo, guys like Trell, and guys like Walsh that don't have kill it, but we were saved by Tom Trbojevic, who, man, on another day, he could have had 150, 160. Like, he was dudded very badly, but he looks unreal.
He does look good. Wasn't upset. I mean, you jumped a little bit early with the old double points, the little blue armband, which I didn't fall for. Oh, fuck, I was nervous watching the game. You know when you've got a player, but everyone else kind of has him, but you don't have the VC on him and other people around you at the table do. So I was like half death riding him, half hoping he does well. I didn't know how to feel about it, but I think I got out unscathed.
That's me going to be watching KP on Friday. Like, I'm going to be terrified. Like, I'm hoping for a good score, but not like an immense score. Like a 130. We'll take it.
Yeah. Hey, I'll be happy with the 130 as a VC in round one as well. How'd you go, Matty? Obviously, you're in Queensland, so you couldn't come down. I mean, well, you didn't come down. Could have, but chose not to.
Didn't get the invite. But my classic team's doing better than my podcast team. 4 for 218. Full credit to the boys for getting up for this one. Had the vice captain tag on Turbo, had Burbo, had Tupanua and Jai Arrow. Dodged Piakura.
So we only have one Piakura owner in this channel. Not a fun time to be SC Brain.
Yeah, well, it wasn't great.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
Today was shit. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you can't really get too upset if you pick a bloke and he gets knocked out. It's just uncontrollable. So, I guess the good thing is he gets a bit of a break. So we should see, hopefully, him back in round 2, fingers crossed. But 282 for me after 6, and that's including Gagai's AE, which was yesterday when I put the score in. Nico's obviously good to play now, so that'll drop out. So sitting at about 228, something like that. So not too bad. Could be worse. But I got stuck with Arrow like you did, Josh. We had the same front row. So we were looking at Lenu going, shit, this is going okay. He's on 25. He's played 25 minutes straight and things were looking good. And big brain explosion there from him. And he'll be, fair to say, probably first traded out when lockout opens up.
He'll be cutting oranges for a good while.
He will. He will be.
We'd have space for that in our Supercoach teams.
No. Not at all.
Yeah, mate. I'm a huge morals guy. I had AFB and JDB in my teams last year. Massive morals, man.
I thought
if you got Jack DeBellin in your team, you got no morals whatsoever. So,
and hey, we all brought Dylan Brown back in the minute that he was named.
Absolutely. We're here to win Supercoach.
Oh goodness.
There were a few injury concerns or injury conversations to have. So let's start it
I'll tell you what, Arrow probably had about 2 broken legs.
Broken arm, broken shoulder, broken finger, broken ribs. I think
more hits than the Beatles.
Every hit up that he took, it looked like he came out of it reeling.
I put up my round 1 in memes reel this morning, and I used the con man from SpongeBob, the one that was just like wrapped in everything. He said that he breaks every bone in his body. That was Jai Arrow. Honestly, every hit up, you're just sitting there wincing. I honestly thought he was done after the first hit up, and I would have been a wreck because he was not good.
We all looked at each other because we all owned Arrow at the table. We're like, surely not. Surely he can't be done.
The table was you, me, Aman, and Jamie Brown from Jamie Fantasy Analysis. So yeah, we were struggling. But I mean, listen to the Magic Sponge podcast. Physio says it's just a couple of bumps and bruises. There is some concerns for some major AC joint injuries. We do know that doesn't affect performance. It's just a pain tolerance thing. I wouldn't be running out of my way to trade him in round 2. Like, let's just pump the brakes a little bit. We have some other issues to deal with in our team that probably need attention. But Arrow, the good thing with these guys is they get 2 weeks off as well. They're going to get basically a full week as well. So let's just and we'll talk about that in buy, hold, and sell. But yeah, Arrow, shoulder, leg, ankle, toes, fingers, neck, everything's in the walls for him.
Yeah, he's been a Barry Butler, Arrow. Tupanua and Wong also both ankle injuries, both different mechanisms though. But we're kind of confident, I guess we could say, that both of them could be a hold. Both of them could line up again next week. Mattrix, you're a Tupanua owner. I don't think any of us had Wong. Am I right in saying? Yeah. So
I think we just went the cheapest one. So, but I wouldn't be rushing to get him out. If it's looking like he's not going to line up next week, then we tackle it then. But, tried to go back out.
Didn't work out.
Just got ruled
Yeah.
out 3 minutes in. Didn't work.
2 minutes into the second half, and then he sat the rest of that half. But from what NRL physio is saying, there's not really too much to worry about with that. Just a standard kind of lateral ankle sprain. So fingers crossed he should line up.
Yeah, and he didn't even ice it after the game, so
Yeah.
I don't expect it to be massive. Like maybe some swelling on the plane, but apart from that, you should just wait. But also, like, if you're holding an Alex Seyfarth, for example, and you're holding Api Coruscant, if Chupanua is out next week, it's not the end of the world. Like, you got enough cover to look after him there. So, yeah, I'm not rushing to sell Wong or Chupanua. Let's just wait for scans and anything like that to come back, but it should seem fine.
Yep. Piakura HIA, the beauty of this one, I guess, if you're an owner and you're upset with the 4, first of all, that's a point per minute. Thank you. One of the best points per minute you've ever seen.
What an average 83.
I know. He got upgraded by 3
3
points as well. I'm like, how can you miss that in like 2 minutes of play? But very, very impressive. But the good thing is there's 11-day stand down, obviously, but it's 11 days exactly between their game on Sunday and their next game on Thursday in round 2. So hopefully if he passes all those protocols and goes through the right stages, we'll see Piakura in round 2. So we won't talk too much about him. We'll talk about him later.
There is some concerns with Piakura. He's had a pretty lengthy battle with HIAs, especially in Q Cup last year. He suffered a really, really big one and was out for about 5 or 6 weeks because he's kept having delayed symptoms, similar to Luke Keary a couple of years ago when he was supposed to be out 1 week, but it ended up being like 7 or 8, just a delayed symptoms. So it's not his first rodeo. But yeah, with the 11-day stand-down period, we saw that happen quite a bit last year, and the precedent was set that the player is fine to play. The NRL will allow it, but it's a case of like, is he going to pass symptoms? And he's had a lengthy history before. But, you know, the Broncos got rid of their only other good edge option. Paddy Carrigan wasn't great. So, yeah, we'll see. It's still very early in the season.
Yeah, it's the HIA conversation seems to be one of those ones that's just going to continue to cause confusion and, a number of different things, I guess. But you're right, with Piakura, it's his 4th HIA, I think, NRL physio said, in his career, and the last one was lengthy. So, but again, we look at Charnze-Nicoll-Klokstad last year, and everyone was thinking he was going to miss multiple weeks due to the multiple HIAs he had in a short period of time, and he was straight back in 11 days. So, it's all individual. We'll see how we go next team list Tuesdays. Jason Saab, no one owned him, but he has a grade 2 hamstring strain, so not ideal having to travel 17 hours in the plane and then go through rehab and all that. So he will miss some time, which opens the door for potentially a Vega or, even better, we could be seeing a bit of Tommy Talau season.
Bit of Jess Surgis's man. That's what I'm referring him to. He's not Tom Talau. He's Jess Surgis's boyfriend.
He is. And hopefully we see Ruben Garrick shift to the wing. That'd be even better.
Well, it's worth noting that both Vega and Talau are both named on the wings. I know that people were worried about Talau being a centre only, but they've both been named on the wings for New South Wales Cup. So it might be a case of a shootout between who plays better is going to come in. So Vega's 317 and Talau's 280. So, we're winning either way. We'd prefer Talau. But yeah, 6 weeks it's looking like for Jason Saab. He's a guy that relies on high speed and high twitch fiber or fast twitch fibers. So I think physio said 4 to 6 weeks. I wouldn't be surprised if it's on the side of 6 weeks, just with how explosive he is and how much his game relies around speed. But it wasn't very speedy when Lachlan Ilias ankle tapped him and cost us all a try assist for Trbojevic.
Yes, question marks there. The good thing is it was the opposite hamstring to the ACL that Saab did last year. So if it was the same leg, there'd be all sorts of dramas around this injury, but not so. Billy Smith hamstring, again, which is a concern. The guy's had 4 ACLs. So, hopefully he comes back soon. It's good for football. The guy's had a horrid run of injuries, so hopefully he can make a comeback sooner rather than later. Cam Munster, though, Mattrix, he's done an adductor or a groin injury. Initially, it was reported as an ankle, but now it's a groin. Slipping over in the shower. What do you take of this?
Yeah, I'm sure he just slipped over in the shower and definitely wasn't playing up or somewhere or tripped over something or fell off a roof.
He was in Fiji, mind you.
Yeah, doing something he shouldn't have been doing. But is he available in draft? Because I went to see if any Nuffy had him that I could try and trade for him, and I see you've got him, Braino. So
you can step into my office a little bit later and we can have a talk.
He's been named though, which is
weird.
He was 100 to 1 to be named, and then I saw him and I was, what's going on here? So I think Joe Peasant might be on standby.
he came out and said, if I'm not good to go by Wednesday, you'll hear about it. So basically the decision will be made tomorrow as to whether he pulls out of his squad or not. So I'd say erring on the side of caution, we won't see him this weekend. Taruva with his PCL sprain, he is back, or named, I should say, for the Panthers on the left wing. Karaz is also been named after that back injury, has kind of ruled him out of all the trial matches. So good to see him back. A few people pulling the trigger on Jacob Karaz, physio calling him the buy of the season, which is massive. Any temptation on the Jacob Karaz train, Josh?
I was.
Not
and then obviously, moving to centre over wing, no preseason. I wanted to see more before I took the 600k plunge. For that money, I'd rather just spend it on Hammer.
Yep. Fair call. What about Brayley and Little? These guys both have hamstring strains. Now, Brayley obviously hasn't been named, but Jacob Little has been. But he's got Connor Malheisen on the bench, which is not ideal. We were hoping for a Jacob Little that was going to see majority minutes, and I don't know whether we do, especially coming back off a hammy. Too many question marks for me, but I see a few people taking the Jacob Little plunge. Mattrix, is he a guy that's tempted you at hooker?
I mean, if I saw more than 60 minutes consistently, then yeah, but we'd probably see him getting 55 to 60 minutes. If we saw 70 plus, yeah, great. Oh, great price. But obviously this is the same role that he's been in, and he's priced at 450 because he's been scoring, close to 50.
So. Nothing's changed really, has it? Yeah. Chance Nickel-Klukstad has a hamstring and back injury, and I guess if this was just a hammy, I think we'd have a little bit more reliable information, and there would be question marks that come around to a Tuapiki. But the fact that this is a hamstring and a back issue separately, it seems like, Josh, that the rehab process is a little bit more complicated for an injury like this, and we might see at least 3 weeks of Tuapiki. What are your short thoughts on him?
It's also not Chance's first rodeo with lower body issues, so I think the signs point towards an okay punt for Tuapiki. Like, Chance is good, but he's not integral to this Warrior side. It's not like SJ's out and they need to sort of quickly try and get him back. Like, Chance is great. He's a great piece to have in this, Warrior side. You've just brought in RTS. He can probably cover a little bit of that workload. So I would expect Webster to not be inclined on rushing Chance back, especially with the prolonged history of his lower body issues. So I think Tuapiki probably gets at least 3 weeks, which is one price rise. I don't know, it's not great, but he isn't costing us anything. Like, he's not costing us a trade to bring him in for one price rise. We get to do it for free. And if it goes pear-shaped, we get one price rise, he drops out. He's not going to be a guy that's going to be named at 14. So we can just sit there and wait until a better option comes up.
Yeah, he currently is in my team. I've been toing and froing on him and a couple of other guys at the moment, and whether I start with them or whether come Thursday night they're in my team, I don't know. But I think we're going to see an extended run for whoever plays fullback. So Braden Hamlin-Ueli is the last injury I guess we can talk about. There hasn't really been much news around him and his knee surgery. That's pretty much all they've said is he had surgery on his knee in the off-season, and that was, I think, about a month to 6 weeks ago. They've been really cloudy around the timeline there too. They haven't told us anything about what he's doing in rehab or whether he's gone into contact or anything. So there's way too many question marks around Royce the choice for me, Mattrix. I don't think he's the choice anymore.
No. Sam Hughes, front row forward too. Get on it, baby.
Royce was the choice when there was some talk that Beryl was going to be playing 14. Because apparently Bradley wasn't fit or whatever, but they picked the 4-forward bench. On Braden Hamlin-Ueli, it pays to know people who know people. From what I know, he returned to running about a month ago. So no contacts in that month. I don't know what's happening now, but I know he returned to running about a month ago. It depends on how long of a preseason they want to give him. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think Royce is the choice, not with that 4-forward bench, and he already has minute issues as it is. So fun while it lasted, but RIP Royce Hunt's relevance.
Very, very much a shame. But I went with Lanu anyway, so I wasn't leaning on Hunt. I kind of wish I was now after the weekend. But anyway, it's funny how Supercoach works. Boys, let's go into the games and talk about the winners and losers, or the hot and cold players here. Game 1, we had Manly 36 beat the Rabbitohs 24. In Game 2, we had the Roosters 20 beat the Broncos 10. We won't talk about the Broncos loss too much, Mattrix. We won't rub it in too much.
We'll have plenty of Tigers losses to talk about throughout the year.
When we get to our weekly multi, we're talking about the Broncos loss. Emma also talking about your terrible analysis of it going unders.
I was only 20 points off, boys. Come on.
Under 41.5, ended on 70.
Oh, mate, it was huge, wasn't it? It was good. It was a good bet from me. You always start the season a little bit slow, but I'll come good. Don't you worry. Let's talk about who was hot on the week.
This is why I'm hot.
It was fullback central, wasn't it? Latrell Mitchell, 110, led the scoring on the weekend. A couple of guys that we were with on the weekend had him in their team, and they went a little bit pottish with Latrell over guys like Turbo, and we also had Tedesco put up a score, but Latrell looked good, didn't he, Mattrix? Like, it was just one of those games where he just decided he wanted to turn up and wanted to play hard in this one.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, he was on 100 at halftime. Just to show you what Latrell can do, turn it on, Bunnies were on top, scores 100, scores 10 in the second half. Like, this is what frustrates me about Latrell, and is also probably why I'm not a Reece Walsh owner. So...
Yeah, that's fair. It's a bit of the Talakai 150 at halftime and 154 or whatever it was at full time vibes. But you're not going to complain about a 110 on the opening night of NRL Supercoach.
No.
So big win for owners there.
Just to
8% owned.
Just to give all three of us a pat on the back, I'm pretty sure we said we wouldn't be surprised if Trell went to Vegas and put up 100. I think we said 130, but still 110. Not a bad little prediction. You know, we're not going to get many
stage player.
Yeah.
No, that's right. He is a big stage player. We know he loves to turn up to the occasion. So Joey Manu 106 looked a little bit like kind of prime Joey Manu that we saw from 2 years ago. So
that flick. Oh,
it was nice, wasn't it? Yeah, it was very special. Very special.
I can't believe. Does he really have to go to rugby? Can he just stay?
Would love a little backflip, like a Daly Cherry Evans to the Gold Coast Titans kind of backflip. That'd be enjoyable.
I thought you were going to say like a Blake Ferguson backflip, like as in a celebration.
No, I'm all about those trade backflips. Ruben Garrick, aka Jamie Brown, 99.
Won't go well at centre, boys.
No, awful.
Useless.
Awful. One of the worst takes we've had this pre-season. But to be fair, the runs are on the board with Garrick. He has underscored more than he's scored well at centre. So, but he did have a cracker game. He had a really good game. And I think that the track over there, it was really fast. It was dry. Obviously the turf over there in Vegas was definitely harder than you'd have over here. So it suited those kind of running game guys.
Manly scored, 6 tries? There was plenty of goal kicks.
Yep.
It was all
up. And yeah, that's right. 99 for Garrick. Not really a buy at this point or a look for me. But, I mean, look, if he eventually drops in price, maybe. There's just way too much cash that we need to have in the bank at the moment for other moves that you just can't consider a guy that's going to cost you 600 plus, 700 plus. Homoli Olakawatu, though, I tell you what, I would be very tempted to pull the trigger on a guy like him. Fuck, he looked unbeatable. He's like a fucking wrecking ball.
He just oozed Keon Kolomatangi, who's like very, very good back row on his own mind. Just oozed him all game. Yeah, he's scary. Like, he's very good.
Yeah, he took it personally, that matchup. So big score for him, 97. Turbo and Walsh both matched each other at 81. So the fullbacks had a decent day. Latrell 110, these two 81, Teddy 70 odd.
If you watch Turbo and then watch Walsh, no way they both end on 81. Like, I know I've said it before, but like Turbo, maybe I'm salty, but like he was dudded so bad. Should have had a try as a sub. Had that contentious rolling one from the Luke Brooks kick. Like, on another day, he ends on like 125, 130.
Yeah, it feels like the fullback choices from the weekend didn't really separate themselves too much aside from Latrell, but they all passed the eye test more often than not. So Burbo 72 though, I'll tell you what, I have not heard a bigger cheer for Ben Trebojevic in my life. That whole Star City Casino just fucking blew up when he went over. And I think it was also the Turbo try assist to the Burbo try that was the clincher. So, I mean, look, he is the most owned player in Supercoach at the moment, but there are still 39% of people that don't own Ben Trebojevic. So for those 39% that are, I'm sure they're listening, and there's one specifically that told us not to buy him, I'd probably just suck it up and buy the bloke now. You've got to admit when you're wrong. You've got to cop it on the chin, and you've just got to get this guy in now because I can't see him losing that spot. I know it's only one game. But
Josh Schuster, he's come straight back in with no preseason and no form and not much else going.
who is very
the
well
spread
known
needs
to
to be
overeat
there.
in the preseason.
He's going to walk back in against the guy who scored 3 tries in his opening opportunity and then scored a try and got a win.
Yep.
Yeah.
And in terms of work rate on defense, Burbo made fucking 30 tackles.
Yeah,
when
so
have you seen Schuster
awesome.
make that many tackles?
72. So he scored a try with a couple. So he scored 29 in attack. That's still 44, 45 points from a near basement guy. Like, that's fine. As I said before, that keeps good.
Tell us about Terrell May, Mattrix. Did he, obviously he's caught everybody's eye. He was a conversation piece throughout the whole preseason about people saying that he was a good option. He's PPM beast. We just weren't sure whether the minutes were there in that Roosters rotation, but did the injuries help? Like, he was awesome.
I think it did help to a certain degree, but listening to Robbo after the game, like, May's the real deal, I think. And, like, looks like Lenyu's going to miss some time. It made a lot of sense to get a Lenu. Not that I had him, but it did make a lot of sense to get a Lenu because he was cheaper than a May, and there was question marks on both of them. But, like, yeah, you've just maybe got to move heaven and earth to get May in because I could see him get 60 every week. The way he played.
Robbo was giving it 2 hands. He was polishing it. He was on top. He was working Terrell May after the game. I'll tell you what, I've never heard Robbo talk about a player that highly. You said we had concerns over the minutes. I still think we do, but the concerns go from is he going to play 35 or 40 to is he going to play 50 to 55? I think he's jumped that much. And people are like, oh, Jared Warrior-Hargraves averages 50 minutes a game. Cool. Jared Warrior-Hargraves is retiring, and he's not there in a couple of years' time. Terrell May is. He's the man. He is him. He is Himothy. Admit when you're wrong. Like, I was very outspoken on Terrell May being like, I just don't see it, blah, blah, blah. But you got to put your hand up and be like, cool, we were wrong. Let's not dig our feet in because that gets us nowhere. Let's just get him in. So he will feature heavily in our buy, hold, and sell.
For sure. I agree with you. I was on that train too. The Roosters rotation, there's too many middles, there's too many edges, like there's too many options there. Where are the minutes going to come from? But regardless of whether, and you said Robbo was working him in the press conference, he basically said that he could not get Spencer Leniu and Lindsay Collins back on the field because Terrell May does not get tired. That's
Lindsay Collins' Australian front row forward.
Yep.
He's best middle.
It might be an exaggeration in terms of the way that he explained it, but when you're talking about a guy in round one that you can't get off the field because he's not tired, and he is, 1.2 ppm, pretty historically, he's a guy you want in your team, I think. So we'll chat about him a little bit later, but let's talk about... Sorry,
64. I think 64 is the top end. Like, that's probably the best we'll see. But I think a floor of like 53 is very much there.
He's priced at 42.
Yeah.
So there's 10 points of value, which we spoke about all preseason. Let's talk about who shut the bed, shall we? Now, it's not Piakura's fault. He likes to headbutt people's hips. So he finished with 4. Hopefully we see him next week. We can move on from him. Ezra Mam, though. We don't get him right all the time.
But
I tell you what,
Ezra Mam's not good.
Hey, this is one we got right. And yes, it's one game, but 21. A lot of people bought Ezra Mam to start the season. Everyone was talking so highly about Ezra Mam and how great he was going to be. And yes, it's only early, but is there room to, or is it time to panic, Mattrix, if you have a Mam and you might have Galvin or something like that at 5'8"?
So I'm big fan of the Mam, but realistically, he's never been that good at Supercoach. He's not very Supercoach friendly at all. Did lose Piakura, even you have a look at that intercept where Joey Manu come. Piakura usually jams in there where he would pass it, and obviously Carrigan plays from the middle, so was not running where he was meant to be, or the way that they had drawn it up. But yeah, there was a little bit of that too. I don't think Mam will be this bad, but if you're expecting him to average above 60, then yeah, it's probably time to get off. And maybe you could get off the Mam train before he drops in cash, because he's got 21 in his average now, rolling average. So,
yep, Yep, fair enough. We've talked about man more preseason. We don't need to double down on that. We won't rub it in.
It's also,
except we were right.
it's also not the week to go in on him either.
Not at all.
No. Also,
Not
shout
at
out to
all.
Adam S in the comments. He said he's listening at midnight in LA. We're worldwide, boys.
That's very impressive. Thanks for watching. Adam was listening to us last year as well. Legend. Boys, the last cold player or loser, I guess we can call him. Pretty aggressive word, loser. 26 for Tupanua. Now, obviously that was hampered by injury, but let's just say hypothetically he doesn't get injured. He's scoring you 45, really, as a floor. There's every chance he plays the 80. How do you see this one, Josh? Because you both started with Tupanua. I went with Piakura, so you got a 22-point head start on me to start the season. What was the reasoning between just taking Tupanua? Was it purely cash?
Yeah, I think so. I think they both had the same floor, both had the same upside, slightly cheaper. Tupanua had 2 or 3 chances to go over the line. It just in one half as well. Like he was very much there or thereabouts. But yeah, frustrating. I think the positive thing was when the first substitution happened, it was Nat Butcher coming on for Suawong, and Tupanua played at the full 40 and started the second half. I think we get a full fit Tupanua. I think we get 60 minutes. 60 minutes is at the worst. And if he's getting me 43, 44 points on a bad day, we know he's a great line runner. We know he's good in attack. I think he, can push 80 some weeks. We've seen him score doubles on a few occasions. So if we're getting 40 points as a floor, I'm very, very fine with that, especially for a guy who is as attack reliant as Tupanua is in a side like the Roosters, who looks much better. They look improved. So I'm not too upset. It's just, like I'm not worried. I think I overreacted slightly when I saw he went off. I think I made a tweet that said Flicky the Satilli, but on further inspection, it was an injury and it wasn't a hooking. And yeah, you can't plan for injuries, so we'll take it as it comes. I do have cover in the form of Alex Seyfarth if he's out next week as well. So I'm not going to be rushing to trade him out too soon unless it's something major.
Yep, that's fair enough. Boys, let's move into buy, hold, sell. A little bit of a weird week this week because we're kind of halfway through a round. We've got the rest of the games coming up. So we can't really tell you to go and buy specific players with the 2 trades you have. But we'll give you our best kind of buy options for the following round for round 2 once lockout kicks in. So let's talk about the buys.
Buy more. Sound fair enough?
Go on, Josh. You start with your first buy. It's a pretty obvious one. You've talked about him.
Yeah, it's Trent Robinson's love interest. Terrell May. I don't really know, if you own a crap front row forward too, if you need another front row forward, like he's not too expensive. We have enough cheapies for you to have cash in the bank. So I think you just find the money and stash it and get Terrell May. I don't really need to go too much in depth. Spencer Leniu being out is good for him because obviously Jared Warrior-Hargrave's coming back. There was more question marks over his minutes. But yeah, I think with the performance like he had in round 1 and the fact that Leniu is now going to be out, I wouldn't be surprised to see Jared just slot back into that Leniu role. And
so off the back of that, you mentioned make sure you have cash in the bank. Now, the difference between Leniu and May is about 100K. So are you advising people to leave that money in the bank for round 2 trades ready to go? Like, are you tweaking your team or making any changes leading into this to make sure you've got the cash?
Yeah, so I was deliberately leaving myself 100K for this move. I've left myself more, just the way that it worked. There's no one I like. I think I've got 250K left over in the bank as we speak, but there's no one I want to spend that money on that hasn't been locked out in my side. So yeah, find the cash. I don't really care what you got to do, whether it's downgrade one of your medium. Like if you had like a Zeri. Zeri's a great example. Like if you had a Zeri, just downgrade him to a Chan via some jewels or something like that, and you've saved yourself 100K there. And I just think May, like even if he reverts back, like we said, 64 is his absolute tops. But even if he scores 50 next week, like, are you upset? Like, I'm not.
Nah, he'll make decent cash too. Do you agree, Matty? I'm assuming you agree on Terrell May.
Yeah, I'm gonna try find a way to get him in after making the mistake of not having him.
And there's another guy you're gonna try and find room to get in, from what I can see.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if I will, but I wasn't sure that the work rate and everything was there. He did score close to his best score that he scored in 2023. He just looked a lot more involved than he has in other years. I'm not sure if it's a once-off thing. I'm probably not gonna find a way to get him in. But I think if you need a mid-priced winger at the moment, and some of these Bostocks and stuff don't work out this weekend, hey, it's an easy sideways move to Jesse Arthurs, and I think that you'll be safe getting, maybe a 50 average, where I probably expected closer to a 40 average.
And he is priced at a 36. So, yeah. I mean, you'd be cheering with a 50 from him.
Yeah. Well, I expected 40. Like, I just never thought he'd be that involved there. And I didn't like the pairing maybe beside Cobbo. Maybe Cobbo, gets more involved in some other games. But, yeah, look, Jesse Arthurs look good.
What are your thoughts on Jesse Arthurs, Josh?
He's fine. I think having Cobbo helps. Having Cobbo helps because it's going to attract more defenses. Like when you've got Walsh hitting you at full speed and then you've got Cobbo also outside of him, like you're terrified as a defensive edge. So more is put on. And we saw that on the weekend. Like Arthur's strolled over with a line break, very, very uncontested, and then just back inside to Walsh. I think we'll see that quite often this year, whether it's back inside to Walsh or back inside to Cobbo. Like I think there'll be a lot of that trio hooking up and getting points.
Yeah, I agree with both of yours. For mine, it's Burbo and it's very vanilla and it's obvious, but I think he's locked it down. I think it's his. You got the three Trbojevic brothers playing together for the first. They've only done it a few times in their career, and Tommy Turbo's average when playing with Burbo is actually I think 80 plus. So just stack them. Just stack Turbo, Burbo. Maybe just get Gerbo just for the vibes as well. Why not? But Burbo is one of those ones where if you got to correct your mistake if you don't have him. It's as simple as that. You don't need to, don't, like you said, Josh, don't dig your heels in. Don't say, I said this in the preseason, so I'm not going to admit I'm wrong. Just cop it.
That's the thing. And like, as someone that makes a lot of predictions and probably one of the most outspoken people in this space, like, no one cares if you get something wrong. Like, people will give you slack for it. But no one cares. But they do care if you continue. Like, if you're in round 2 going, no, Burbo sucks, and he scores 60, and then you go round 3, oh, no, he sucks. Like, that's when people start to turn. And they're like, well, what are you talking about? Like, no one cares that you get the 1 week predictions wrong. No one cares if you get them right. Like, it's funny if you get them wrong. Like, it's funny for me to... It's like funny to see, like, some of your players suck. But it's like, if you continually believe the hype. Oh, I mean, yeah, like, you can laugh at it. Like... I guess I know it firsthand because, like, in 2021, COVID year, like, I never bought into Nico Hines. I was like, this has to stop. It has to end. Who is this guy? Pappenhausen's back soon. Munster's back soon. And he just averaged 3,000 points. And I continue every week. I sat there and said, no. And now you just got to learn. Okay, cool. If you didn't like Nico Hines, whatever. He's cool. He's good now.
Last year.
Let's buy him. Exactly. Jermaine Hopgood last year.
Oh, you're an idiot.
No, I was fine. I held him the whole time. Mattrix sold him, but I held him the whole time.
I thought he peaked at 600.
I'm just saying when he was peaking, everyone was getting rid of him.
I sold, and then I bought him back.
Yeah.
But you bought him back because you went, okay, I was wrong. Let's get him back in. A lot of people would have just said, I traded him out. I won't get him now.
Exactly. I think circumstances also change as well. But the main thing is just don't dig your heels in and try and be a hero. Like, yeah, you got it wrong. You'll get a lot of shit right, and you'll get a lot of shit wrong. Like, it's the nature of this business. We make a lot of calls. Some of them go well, some of them go poor. The ones that go poor, whatever. Just move on.
Just push on. That's it. All right, let's talk about the players we should hold for round 2. I'm holding Piakura. It's as simple as that. I think we talked about the 11-day stand down. We talked about the fact that there's every chance that he could line up in round 2. Look, if he doesn't and he fails his HIA and he misses round 2, then we'll start to ask questions, especially about the HIA history. But at the moment, all signs are pointing towards the fact that he has every chance to line up in round 2. So he's a hold. We picked him because he was playing in a grand final team on a good edge. That there's nothing has changed. We haven't even seen whether he has the opportunity yet. And I've seen a lot of people either on X or Discords or whatever saying, I'm going to trade out Piakura. Just hold him. There's absolute waste of a trade.
I don't own, and I'm very anti-Piakura. Like, I've been open about this. But, like, if you're trading him out, like, what are you doing? Like what's changed?
Nothing.
People are sitting there going, oh, he'll lose cash. Like, your round 1 score is so inconsequential. It's the first score that drops out of your rolling average. Like, if he comes out and gets a 26 in round 2, then yeah, look, let's have another discussion then. But like, just chill.
Yep. Mattrix, who's your hold mate for round 2?
Look, realistically, there's only been 2 games. But yeah, I'm going to be holding Satili. As Josh said, pending major injury news. I just think he did look all right when he was out there. It's disappointing that he scored 25, but I think that we should probably just chill. It's just 1 week. Let's move on to next.
Yeah. How about you, Josh?
Yeah, for me, I think if you own Suwong, just pump your brakes, and obviously Jai Arrow as well. Let's just see how many bandages he's wrapped in when they touch down in Australia. But yeah, you've got 2 weeks for it to subside. So if Arrow comes out and sucks again next week, I think Arrow sucking is 40 points, which is fine. Like, if he sucks again, then you can move him on. Like, it's not the end of the world if he gets 40. Like, it's not like he's at risk of getting 12.
He just got 39 when it looked like he broke every bone in his body and got 39. So realistically, if he gets through a game unscathed, we'd expect 45 to 50 from him in the kind of minutes that he played as well the other night. Like, you can't be upset with him playing 50, 55 minutes as a worst case. So I'll be holding him.
We need to lower our expectations for the first 6 rounds. Like, a good score is 1,200. Like, it's not like in round 16 where a good score is like 1,350, 1,400. Like, our expectations are much lower in these early rounds. So if a player's scoring 50 now, that's weighted a lot better than a player scoring 50 in 12 weeks' time. So just chill.
Yep. Fair call. All right, let's move on to the players we're definitely moving on, and there is one clear one. All right, say it with me.
3,
Spencer
2,
Leniu.
1. Spencer Leniu.
Get out of my team. He will be seeing time. We're not going to get into the politics of the conversation and what we think. Look, it was the wrong thing to say. Simple as that. We don't agree with what he said. He deserves time.
For all legal reasons, allegedly.
Yep. Yeah, allegedly said. But he was referred straight to the judiciary by the NRL. So we'll see that out.
Also didn't help himself in post-match comments. He could have said, no, I didn't say it, or yeah, he misheard me. But he's pretty much doubled down and gone, no, Ezra's a bitch. Why didn't he make this public?
Yeah.
And then his brother comes on Instagram and triples down on Instagram. So yeah, it's not helping him. But anyway, he will be a sell if he's suspended. Now let's just play the hypothetical game for a second. And there's let's just say the 1% chance he isn't suspended. Do you hold him?
No.
Just
I've
move
got
him on.
I've got the money to go to May. Like, I'm just gonna move him on. Yep. Because I think they play Souths in round 9. Oh, they play the Broncos again in round 9. I think you'll be.
You reckon that's an 8-round suspension?
Yeah.
Come back and play him in round 9. Face up to the music. Mattrix.
That would not surprise me.
It is an entertainment injury.
If PVL just lined up the suspension with coming back to play, the Broncos again,
that'll be a game I would travel to go to. That's mate. For sure. Anything to add on Leniu, Mattrix? He's just a straight move out.
Yeah, not really. And yeah, we don't want to get into it, but I don't think people go out there and accuse people of doing this unless they've done it. Like, yeah.
I made that point on Twitter. Someone said, "Oh, what if Spencer's innocent?" I said, "I don't really think anyone's innocent in this situation. Like, to call Spencer innocent is to call Ezra Mam a liar, which is a bigger claim than to like, that's a huge claim to call Ezra Mam a liar. But also, like, you can have your beliefs. If you think what Spencer said's fine, whatever. We're not here to tell you right or wrong, but you can't tell Ezra how he's supposed to feel. Like, you can't call Ezra soft. You can't call him a bitch, a pussy, or whatever. No. Like, he is entitled to feel however he wants. I'm sure Ezra's experienced this his whole life, so don't tell him. As for Cade's question, Montoya got 4 weeks for homophobic comments. So based off that, I would probably say 6 weeks. Like, I know Latrell's coming out and saying half the season. That's probably I would say 6 weeks and a lot of rehabilitation courses and like training.
Yeah, there'll be definitely some external requirements from Leniu. What do you reckon? How many weeks, Mattrix?
Yeah, I think 5 or 6. Yeah,
I reckon we could see 8. I genuinely think there's a narrative there that he comes back and plays against the Broncos. I'm not joking. Like, I genuinely think there's a chance.
He's fly back, just cooking up his script. He's altering the script.
Yeah, 100%. Mark in the chat's gone, Spencer will be back when JWH gets his annual suspension,
100%.
which every chance of happening.
It's a
Well,
rotating
that's
door for those two. Like,
it's a bad combination, isn't it? But anyway, we'll move on from that, boys. Let's talk about why everybody is here, and let's preview the week ahead. Now, the weekly preview, guys, is brought to you from Ryan from Astute Newstead. Now, if your rates are above 6.2%, maybe you want to buy a new home, maybe you want to refinance your existing home and get a better rate, maybe you want to renovate, or maybe you just want to save some money like the rest of us, then you can reach out to Ryan at Astute Newstead for an obligation and cost-free inquiry. It won't cost you a thing. You can reach out to him on Linktree at Hammond's Home Finance and just use the code INSIGHT to let him know that we sent you. Now, boys,
he's currently working on getting some interest-free loans for your Supercoach teams as well. So when that happens, we'll be the first to break it to you because I need it.
And I'll give Hamo a shout out because he is the Sean Kepi #1 fan, and we've started jumping on the bandwagon of the cappuccino. And he reminds me every single week that it was him that was on first. So
did you guys tell me that the cappuccino was taken off at the Cas?
It was. Yeah. We had 2 or 3 other podcasters come up to us and reference him as the cappuccino without even us saying a thing. So
yes,
you're a big, you are.
Gone viral.
Yep. Not for the normal reason that you go viral. Let's chat about the first game, the Knights versus the Raiders. This one's at home for the Knights at McDonald Jones Stadium, the first game of the round, 8 p.m. What have we seen out of this one, Josh? Because for me, the only player I'm looking at really is Kalen Ponga as my VC, but there's a bit going on in the milk.
There's a bit going on in the milk. Jordan Rapiner, named at fullback. That's probably the biggest, honestly, the biggest talking point is our boy Ethan Strange. He wins the 6. Yeah!
We needed it.
That's deserved. He played really well in the trials. KO Weeks was brought over to play 6 and Strange has beaten him out, which is great. As a self-appointed conductor of the Levi Express, he's named at 9, which is great. Starling on the bench. Zach Hosking starts with no Elliot Whitehead, who's out for about 3 weeks. So that's interesting. You've got guys like Palmasolo and Mariotta on the bench. I know some people are looking at them, but you've got Corey Horsburgh coming back, and then obviously Elliot Whitehead. So interesting. And then not the main talking point, but you've got Morgan Smithies at 13 as well, and the wraps on him are huge. And for the Knights, Barry Tui's balls are probably just so large right now because for months he's been calling Anari Tuala as the winger, and everyone's like, nah, it'll be Tom Jenkins, it'll be Will Price, it'll be David Armstrong. And Barry Tui just kept doubling down and said, no, it will be Anari Tuala. I am very confident, and it's Anari Tuala. He is named. There were some reports getting around on some dodgy Instagram accounts that Will Price was training at centre with Gagai to move to the wing. And Tui just continued to just say, well, whoever your sources are, sack them because it won't happen, and it didn't happen. Tyson Gamble wins the 6 with Jack Cogger at 14. You'd think he spells Crosland for a little bit. And Dylan Lucas starts, and our boy KPP on the bench play the sad violin music, unfortunately.
He was a straight trade out for me, unfortunately. Mattrix, anything to take from this, and how has your team potentially changed off the back of this game?
Look, I'm probably going to have a chat about how my team changed more when we have a chat about Parramatta, and I'll reference this, but isn't it just beautiful when the cheapest player goes and wins a pivotal spot on a team? Like, I'm even happy about the 40k that I saved between KO Weeks and Ethan Strange, and I think Strange might have a more Supercoach friendly game as well. It's just beautiful.
It's good to see. Now, I won't ruin your maybe thoughts about buying one of these players, Josh. So I'll leave that to you. But for me, Danny Levi, I'm all aboard the Danny Levi Express. I'm on board with it. I think we were looking at a Parramatta hooker, and I guess we can talk about it now because it is relevant to who we are bringing in. Now, obviously, we've had to pivot away from Hans Lussick, Mattrix. So we couldn't fall back on one of those guys. Or maybe do you want to explain why you didn't want to fall back on Brendan Hands or Lussick? Because, one of them's been named to start. Exactly the same situation as Levi with Starling on the bench. So what's the difference here?
Well, as Josh said, we've been cucked. Brad Arthur said that he was going to play an 80-minute hooker, which excited us. So we're like, well, look, they're both
Fucking
mid-price.
liar.
Yeah,
Fraud.
let's get one of these guys in.
We
And-
have to get Pitchfork out in front of BA's house, like light him on fire and just pepper him.
And like Ricky Stewart is a bigger liar than Brad Arthur. I was going to say statistically speaking, but historically. But Danny Levi, at least he's 150k cheaper for him probably being shit. So it's like the lesser of two evils. And I really need that 150k to maybe get a Terrell May or, upgrade to one of these guys. Some of the cheapies that I'd hoped were named weren't named that we're going to chat about. And hands to Levi sounds like I would be in exactly the same situation, except I can fix some of my fuck ups.
Yep. This whole Brendan Hands to Danny Levi has created the cash that we need to go from Lenu up to Terrell May. It's as simple as that. Like, you don't have to make another move, and you've got the cash there to make that trade. So if that's one of your plans for next week, and this is a path for you, most of us had one of the Eels hookers sitting there ready to go, and we now can pivot to a cheaper guy. So, Agent Cheese.
The love.
Well, yeah, this is going to be a fucking
mate,
Hudson
Ian.
Young all over again.
Ian, if Levi scores 40, I will erupt. Like, I'm expecting 25.
The best 25 you've ever seen, though.
Oh, mate.
And I was saying at the start, like we want Levi, or we think potentially Levi could be the guy that we wanted Sonny Luke to be last year.
Hang on. I just remember you both laughing at me back in like late December. When I
100%
said,
I remember this.
Danny Levi is happening.
Yeah. You called this in fucking Christmas. Like, ridiculous. And anyway, everyone's getting a bit excited in the chat here. Levi to barge over, Levi to put Morgan Smithies through a hole. All of this stuff is like that Vince McMahon gif where he falls off his chair. That's the kind of stuff we're seeing.
Danny Levi inside ball to Ethan Strange under the posts.
Oh, goodness me. Yeah. And then Ethan Strange gets the kicking tee. Just to top
And
things off.
Morgan Smithies grabs the kicking tee.
Oh, Jesus.
They all share it. They just
bit
between
of-
the three of them.
The next Corey
but
Parker.
In all seriousness, I think we need to temper the expectations because like Levi hasn't been great.
awful.
But if we can get
Ever.
45 minutes, I don't expect much more than that. And if we get 35 points, that would be amazing until something else comes up. Because yes, you can pick Lussick, he might get you 45 points, but we can save the cash and go from a shit front row forward 2 to Terrell May, which is lovely. And we're not really having to play Levi. Like we might have to take a hit in round 4 when Grant's on a bye. But yeah, like he's fine. Like if he's better than Sonny Luke, that's a win, and that's not hard.
How many? There's a question here from Kate in the chat. How many minutes do we expect for Smithies? I'm going to go ahead and say probably anywhere between 55 and 60 minutes.
Yeah, I'm at 60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Cool.
so. I'm probably more at 55, but we're only talking about 5 minutes.
I love
so.
Smithies. Like I was very like skeptical of just like his role, not so much him as a player, but his role. And then all the talk is Ricky just froths over. He loves his Englishmen. Like he generally just loves them. Elliot Whitehead has sucked. Elliot Whitehead has sucked for about 17 years, and he just plays 80 minutes every week. Like he loves them. Josh Papali'i has been very open about wanting to play off the bench. Corey Horsburgh is playing prop. Like that's been pretty much all but confirmed. So they love Smithies, and I've only seen 25 minutes of him in the NRL, but that 25 minutes was enough.
Mm-hmm. Yep, with you on that. Let's move on to Friday, 6 p.m. We've got the Warriors and the Sharks at Go Media Stadium in Auckland. Sharks have to go across the ditch. Could be a bit of a tricky game for them. We've got Tuapiki named at fullback. Obviously, CNK isn't going to be due back until round 3 to 4. I think I saw someone in the chat saying that all the news in New Zealand is that he'll be back round 4, which is great. RTS, obviously, at centre, hopefully with that roaming role that we saw a little bit of, or a taste tester of in the trials. And then we've got Metcalf, who wins the 6 Mattrix. Go on. I want you to try and sell everybody on.
He wins the 6, but does he win the 6 in Mattrix's team?
We had a conversation on the phone earlier today, and he may have.
Oh,
No, he hasn't just yet. I need to bank some cash. I got some bigger fires than that. But I just think that Metcalf could be really good this year. I've picked him up in a couple of drafts. Look, just don't be surprised if we're chatting about Luke Metcalf. He's finally got his chance. He was really good when he was at the Sharks, I think, before that, and then just never really got the run. Look, yeah, I've been keeping my eye on Metcalf for years, and I've just got a feeling that it's his year. We could own Metcalf at some point throughout the year. Better pick up than Mam. Better pick up than Mam.
Nah, not on board. Not on board.
I'm on board with Metcalf over Mam for value.
Oh,
Yeah, cool.
yeah. When comparing them, but I just
not
neither.
We're only talking 70k though. He's not super cheap. That's the problem.
Yeah,
If he was 150k cheaper. Yeah.
If he was like 380 or like even like 4 flat, I'd be like, okay. But yeah, he's like mid 400s. It's kind of like, But it's like such a wasteland, isn't it? Like you have to spend another 100k to get Dearden, and then you have to spend another 200k to get Brown, and then do you just play Strange, like Strange and Galvin as your 5'8"s? Like you could. I don't want to.
Sora in the chat's asking about job security, I guess, in terms of Mam versus Metcalf. Is there any chance that somebody else takes Metcalf's role? We've got Chanel Harris-Tavita, I think, is back, isn't he?
There's some love on Warriors.
He didn't even get named in the reserves. Chanel Harris-Tavita. Like, I'd say Tamari maybe, but and I love Tamari. He's fantastic, but I just think it's Metcalf's spot unless he just shits the bed. Essentially, he has to shit the bed for Tamari to take his spot. Like, it's not like Tamari's gonna, at this stage in Tamari's career, is gonna take it off Metcalf.
Webby doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that just makes changes for the sake of making changes. Like, you would have to be an enormous bed shitting moment for it to be taken off him. So I think the security's fine for now.
Yep. Sharks, Nico Hines, we can all breathe a sigh of relief. He has been named and is good to go. So he's been named to play. No Brennan Hamlin-Ueli, still recovering from his off-season knee surgery we mentioned earlier. Royce Hunt has been named to start, but obviously we need to proceed with caution there because we've got our boy Dale Finucane coming off the bench. And, I would be all aboard the Royce Hunt train. Royce would be the choice if Finucane was not coming off the bench.
Where's Jaden Beryl when we need him?
I know. But so the questions...
there's so many of those other players there that can play that same position too. Like, we're talking Toby, we're talking Hazelton.
Yeah, good shout.
Craig Fitzgibbon loves a prop to do fuck all for 30 minutes a game.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? I would love to see some more of Tom Hazelton. That guy's a fucking beast. Just give him minutes.
Good PPM.
Couple of questions. One from Radio Buckley here about Brayley getting 80, but the news around Cam McInnes playing some minutes at hooker, Josh, has kind of squashed that.
I don't know. We also heard that Dale Finucane wasn't going to play. And
we also heard that Parramatta were going to run one hooker for 80 minutes as well, didn't we? So
we also heard that K Weeks was locked into the 6, so take what you want with a grain of salt. I'd still back Brayley in for 70. But yeah, I'm not like pulling the pin on. Like, if you were keen on Brayley, like, I wouldn't be off put by it.
Yep. All right.
We also saw Finucane has the ball playing ability of a 7-year-old in the trials. Like, he seems to have lost any ability to pass off the deck.
Yeah.
He said he's been training hooker. I want to know what he's been training for because it wasn't good.
Just give McInnes 80 in the middle. That's all we ask. He's got 80. He's got the motor. Just give the man minutes. Legolas is feeling the vibes in the chat too, which is great. That's what we're here for.
Can I ask you a question about my team? So, I currently have Hughes as front row forward too. Not the most ideal situation.
I love that.
I love that.
On the bench. I couldn't do it, but I love that.
Yeah. And like that allows me to have, say, a Lukey and some guys like that. But now that I'm looking to downgrade Danny Levi, do you think I would be better to like stepping stone a guy to May? Because we're never in this position where we can change mid-round, usually. So do you think I would be better like getting a Royce Hunt in for a Fafita or a Henry and then getting a better score this week and then move up to May next week, or just lay it on the line?
You're locking yourself into a trade, like, regardless. So it's like,
yep.
In FPL, we call it taking a punt. So if you're guaranteed to make a trade next week, you just try and take the highest upside guy at the price, which from me it's probably Royce.
Yeah, the choice.
Melissa Hanson thinks Big Royce is going to crash over for a try. So if that tells you
live
anything,
trade.
Yep.
Live trade.
What's the anytime try scorer price? Got to be tens.
Write your own.
Put it in my multi. Melissa's putting it in the multi.
Yeah. I don't know whether the stepping stone works because I hate planning trades ahead of time.
But I'm planning one
so many
anyway
things.
because I want
this
May.
is a problem with the split round because like we've had such a standout. We're like, fuck, we have to get him in, and we're forcing ourselves to make a trade. So what do? Do we just try and take the biggest upside, which is probably Royce?
Yeah, that's fair. And isn't it wonderful that both of our front row forward starters have played, Josh? Don't you just love being locked into Spencer Leniu and Jai Arrow in the front row forward?
Opening my app and looking up fucking 70 points combined between the two of them.
It's so good.
I
put a post up on.
next week.
I love how we said all preseason. Oh, if our front row forwards get 80 points, that'll be fine. And then you look down and it actually happens, and you're like, oh, fuck this.
I'm so disappointed. Yep. I put a post up on X saying, I'm very happy with this because it cost me 382k and I got 430, and then they downgraded. And Leniu went from 40 to 31. And Arrow.
I want to know what the score is, like what they were smoking. How do you lose 7 points as a front row forward? Like what are they?
It was
they don't
9.
Score you. Like they don't score you good as it is to start with. They never give you any, attack.
They mistook him for like Terrell May or something. Had to have like 8 runs they've taken, or 4 runs they've taken off him. Anyway, all right, we'll move on. Let's move on to the Storm and the Panthers. This is going to be a cracker of a game. Amy Park in Melbourne, 8 p.m. Friday. Far Logo out with injury. We've got Joe Chan named on an edge. So if they've gone Kane Bradley in the trials on the edge, we're like, oh, we could get a 2RF centre wing dual cheapie.
They've gotten rid of club hero Justin Olam for Sean Bloor. That was the step one to get Sean Bloor in.
Yep.
And then didn't play him in the trial.
And now he's named 18th.
And then the guy they played in the trial isn't even named in the 17.
It's bizarre. Bizarre activity.
Is becoming the new sticky?
Oh, could be. But what do we think about Joe Chan? Because named on an edge, for me, there's way too many concerns there and way too many question marks. Like you got Sean Bloor in the 18 jersey as well. So there's every chance he could come in and could replace Chan. He could come onto the bench, which means there's a minutes risk there for Chan. I don't know whether I'm sold. I think it's a trap, personally. Mattrix, what are your thoughts on Chan?
It's a trap.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is a trap, but like I'm seeing this little piece of cheese for 230k and thinking, well, like I've got
this little sexy numbers looking at me with a green dot.
Yeah, exactly. Ooh, look at that green dot. Like I'm just like trying to find ways to move to fix some of the other issues. And is it a safe path to Chan before the round? Because like, what are we in exactly the same issue if Seyfarth becomes a bench guy? Like, I think that he will start lock, but maybe I just need a trap to work out for me.
The beauty, like the only problem with my team is if Chan is out, I will probably just flick him to Viliami. But then the guy I was going to reserve is Tuapiki, who plays 2 hours before they do. But we'll get the 24-hour cuts beforehand. That will probably give us a clear idea. I don't know. Maybe I'm bitter and maybe I'm just like upset because he left. But like, I haven't seen enough from Sean Bloor to be like, he's him. Like, yeah, he's promising, but like, my teachers always wrote on my report card that I was promising, and then I was a dropout. So it doesn't really correlate.
Now look at you.
Mate, she'd be how proud they'd be. I don't know. Like, I haven't seen enough from Bloor to be like, yeah, he's going to definitely be in. And then Kane Bradley was a winger at the Cowboys who has somehow managed to get an edge spot for the Storm. Like, the Storm rate Joe Chan really highly. Like, he's been thereabouts for the last 3 or 4 years. I just think you gotta, don't you? Like, it's just like, yeah, I
don't think you do. What about for all of us who have Burbo and probably Jamin Salmon at centre wing? Is a better move to move Salmon up to 2RF and get in a centre wing, get in a Bostock, get in a Tuapiki?
If it goes tits up, absolutely. But like, what do you do at 7:30 when Wacko Whispers goes on your phone and it says no changes?
I still don't trust it.
Oh,
I still
can't.
don't.
Like, I'm a sucker. I'm a sucker for a little cutie in the corner of the bar with a green dot that cost me not much money. Like, I'm just sitting there going,
you know who had a little green dot and a really nice price last year? Matt Dory.
Oh, mate, don't remind me. Don't remind me.
I'm getting Matt Dory vibes here. Like,
Nah,
I just
What if he's
feel like
Bryce
he won't be
Cartwright?
starting in round 4.
don't disrespect Joe
But
Chan
what if
like
he's
that.
Bryce Cartwright? And Matt Dory
could be
did
Bryce
play
Cartwright.
in round 4, like just not very well.
Yeah, I kind of like my players to be good. So,
Well,
I don't know.
I
think
like him to be playing.
next week when team lists drop, one of us will be a happy man and one of us will be fucking depressed, and it'll be down to the Storm's team lists.
or we could be both happy. Who knows? Because I've brought in Bostock and done the shift with Salmon.
Are you saying a 55 base performance from Chan and a try from Bostock? And we're both happy men.
Yep, I'll be okay. I'll put up with it. Let's move on to Panthers. Taruva, he has been named from that PCL injury that he had in the World Club Challenge, so that's good. He makes his NRL return. Sorry,
Panthers is just such a boring team to look at.
yeah, it's rubbish. Yeah, it's just 1 to 17. You know, you could say 1 to 17, and everybody just knows who's been named for the Panthers, which is why they're so good, really. So
I think Sorensen is out. He's still dealing with that complaint from the World Club Challenge. So Garner starts. So there is a little concern over Henry.
Yeah.
Which then poses the question: do you go Henry or Poasa Famasuli? For me, I'm gonna go Henry just because I like to have four players from 4 teams, not 4 players from 3 teams. Like, you just want to have a little bit of extra coverage. But I don't expect Garner to be playing through the middle, so I think Henry's probably safe.
Yep, I think so. I brought Henry in, but I'll pivot if I have to. Yeah, let's move on. No one really wants to talk too much about Panthers. There's not much going on.
Let's talk about the fucking Eels, because I got a bone to pick with you, Brad Arthur. You lied to us.
Hang on. Do we need a hat throw? We need a hat throw.
You lied to us, Brad Arthur. Why would you do this to us?
Yeah,
oh, man.
rubbish.
We just knew it was coming, didn't we? We just knew that this was going to come, and now my little fringe is all out of whack. But, like, it's just typical. Just bullshit coaching.
Yeah, it's look. We just have to do something with it, and I think the Levi move makes the most sense. Really, like
Maybe it's
when
a blessing in disguise when Levi turns into 2019 Harry Grant.
Starling drops off the bench at the 1 hour cut, and we're good to go. Rock and roll.
Just quickly, what happened to Zach
better
Wolford? I thought he was
comparison.
club captain or something.
Yeah.
Sorry.
What if Danny
I thought
Levi
Zach
turns
Wolf
into
was like-
Brendan Hands?
No, genuinely, I thought Zach Wolford was like in the leadership group. Like, what happened there? Like, did he just?
I have no idea. Really don't have a clue. If anybody knows, drop it in the comments. If you're close to the milk over there, where's Brent when we need him? He usually has some good intel on the Raiders.
Apart from the conundrum at hooker, Sean Lane starts over Kamatulagi. He comes off the bench. Apart from that, they are pretty much as per. The Dogs. Now, we did get some leakage out of Canterbury that's brought
What a word.
leakage. There was going to be no Carraz, no Jerry, with Carraz playing at centre, and then Blake Wilson on the wing. What happens when, like, I expect Jerry to be fine because Blake Taft will eventually get dropped. Crichton will go back to fullback, and then Jerry will come in and play on the left. Magic round. First round of beers on Mattrix, as Drew Hutchison was named at 7 over Toby Sexton, which is fun.
Love a free beer.
Love a free beer. Love Jamin Salmon at 300k starting as well. He's named at 13. Josh Curran off the bench. Now, there's a lot to unpack here, boys. Firstly, Jacob Carraz at centre. Sight unseen, no sample size, no preseason.
Everyone's looking at what he did last year in the first 6 rounds, and he based like 50, and he was a beast. And the argument was, the Bulldogs are going to be shit, but he doesn't need them to be good to actually score well. Like, they'd lost most of their start of the year games last year, and he still averaged like 70 or whatever it was to start the season. Everyone was tearing their team apart to get Jacob Carraz in. And now I think it's just so much uncertainty, especially at centre as well, not wing. Wing, I'm all in. Centre, way too many question marks. Obviously, when you're at wing, you get the kick returns and all that kind of shit. You get the better try assists you get the better opportunities to score tries in the corner, the line breaks that come with that. At centre, you get more base, but you get less attacking opportunity. Mattrix, are you with us on this one? It's not 600k. It's not exactly like we're spending 400.
Yeah, and he's, like, they say that he's coming back from being injured. Like, he was good when he was healthy last year, and then he started being banged up and wasn't going as well. Like I think he touched 700k at one stage last year. Like it's just a wait and see. And then if in a few weeks' time we're ripping our teams apart to get Kraz in, then fine. It is what it is. But yeah, look, maybe he gets a bit more base being in the centers. I'm not really sure, but
I think the base drops off because not only do you lose those kick returns, but something people don't really factor in is the fact that on those kick returns you have much more space to be able to jink side to side and get some junky tackle
breaks
busts
and stuff. Yeah.
Whereas in a set line, it's much harder to do that. I don't think we're going to be ripping our teams apart to get Karaz. I think performs his price, but I don't think it's by enough to warrant the ripping up. Hutchison at 7 gives me 0 movement. I don't care. I don't care. Salmon, I'm still keen on. And as for Curran, probably he's the biggest talking point out of this because I'm seeing people jump up and down and have a cry that Curran's on the bench.
It's fine.
I don't care. He's not, for full transparency, he's not in my team because I have Sean Lane and Helam Lukey in my team, which I think have better upside. They are more expensive. But if you're at a pinch, Josh Curran's fine. Nothing's changed. We expect him to be named off the bench. Nothing's changed.
I'm with you on that.
he's got a bit of Terrell May about him.
Well, he scored 52 points in 25 minutes in the second trial. Take off the try assist and line break assist. It was still 32 and 25, and he was crook as hell. So I'm fine with Josh Curran.
Yeah, I have no problem. Would you pick Curran over the other options at 2RF that we've got this weekend? Because we've got a fair few. There's a lot of question marks coming. You got Smithies, who's cheaper. Who are you picking over Smithies and Curran? Are you picking Smithies?
Yeah, I think Smithies. I'm very high on Smithies. I'm probably not the man to ask. I think Smithies makes a mockery of his price tag. I think he does. There is a world where I don't start with Alex Seyfarth, and I do start with Josh Curran. I'm not against that, especially if Joe Chan shits the bed and doesn't start. I need another reserve because at the moment Joe Chan is my 4th reserve. So if I have to pivot, I will do that, and I'll go into Curran for Seyfarth because I think the upside for Seyfarth isn't. I think the price difference is 80k, which is a fair chunk, but I've got 250 in the bank behind me, which still leaves me with enough to jump on Terrell May when I have to. But I'm not worried about Josh Curran at all.
Yep. Agreed, Matty? Anything to add?
Yeah, no, I agree with everything that you said. I don't mind Curran, but all I'm saying is Curran could get great minutes off the bench still. Much like Terrell May. People weren't getting Terrell May because, he had the little exclamation mark beside it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't always matter. So,
yep. Let's move on. Titans Dragons, the final game on Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. at Seabus. Home game for the Titans. We've got Keanu Keeney coming in, replacing the injured Jaden Campbell. I'd like to think that he gets 3 weeks as a minimum. I think the word was that he is aiming for a round 4 return. David Fafita is aiming for a round 3 return. So I guess there's question marks, or I guess a conversation to be had about Beau Fermor and whether he's an option to start the season as well, because he's been named on the left edge. We've got Brimson at centre. Palacia also starts, which we saw that in the trial, but then we saw him just stink the joint up.
Remember how we keep saying get over the psychological barrier of a player off the bench, they can still be good? Yep. Don't just assume because a player's starting that they're good either. Falzier stinks. I was all on board, but he stunk it up. I was done. Firma, I'm happy to wait. They got the buy in round 2. Let's just see how it goes with Fafita. If Fafita's back in round 3, you get 2 looks at Firma, one on his own and one with Fafita before he goes up in price. So I'm keen to sit on that. I don't know. So Firma makes his NRL return. Kalini Haas, he is in for Dev Fafita. Now, I know that Jacob Alick trialed there, but it looks like Kalini Haas has been given the start, which is nice, but no interest at all. For the Dragons, everything's kind of as we expected. Lomax on the wing. We're still on at fullback. Flanagan in the halves with Ben Hunt. Connor Mulheason on the bench. Eisenhuth named on the edge. I'm not moved by Eisenhuth at all. There was talk today that Lucian Lalua's 2-game suspension has been waived, and he is to be picked next week. And Flano pretty much said he's going to start on the left edge with Silva moving to the right, which then leaves Viliami Fafita up in the air. Now, there was some talk that he was going to be on standby for Blake Laurie. If Blake Laurie wasn't named, Fafita was going to get named, but Laurie was named, and Fafita was still named. I'm not too sure if he drops out. does he drop out and then Eisenhuth moves to the bench when Lucci's back? That's probably what I think is most likely.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, the Eisenhuth pick is a trap, a massive trap. So I wouldn't be going anywhere near that. But there's two names, I guess, that continually come up in conversation, Matty, and it's our boy Kyle Flanagan, coach's son, Kyle Flanagan. And now I guess it's Jacob Little as the second guy. And these guys have been getting a bit of airtime in the Discord, and they're going to a bit of airtime on X. What are your thoughts about both of these guys? Do you want to kind of share your thoughts on Little and Flanagan?
Well, I'm not even a little interested in Flanagan, so we can leave that there. But look, yeah, like Mullison just being on the bench just tempers expectations with Little. Like Little is kind of what he is. If he starts banging out 65 minutes a game, then he can get, he has a pretty good PPM, but I think he's more like a 45, 50-minute player, and he might average 50. And if you're okay with that, then yeah, that's great. He's still on the Dragons. They aren't great. And Kyle Flanagan, he's been in and around teams for years, and he's a 300k player that is still a 300k player. He's now playing on a worse team than some of the other ones he's played for. Look, maybe he does a bit of the organising, and Ben Hunt becomes, a bit more of a ball runner, which doesn't even bode well for Kyle Flanagan there because he's just organising. That doesn't lead to Supercoach points. It might be a good move for, I don't know. I hope it's a good move for footy, but it's not a good move for Supercoach getting Kyle.
A lot of people, Josh, are going from your Brendan Hands or whoever, Lussick, whoever their Parramatta placeholder was, straight up to Jacob Little as their second hooker. Now, I don't love that. I think you're spending 250k more than you would spend to get Levi. Where are you sacrificing your team spending that kind of cash? Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I was the one pumping the Little agenda on the proviso that he was going to get an 80. Like if there was no bench utility, then I was all in. But I think with hooker, it's bottom dollar. It's Appy. It's Robson. It's Grant. Apart from that, I'm not really keen on anything else. Like if you can find the money for Little, I would try and find it for Appy. Otherwise, drop down to a Levi, and I'd rather just upgrade elsewhere.
Yep. Fair call. Let's move on to the final game of the round then. Sunday, 4 p.m. to wrap things up. We've got the Dolphins and the Cowboys. I reckon this will be a pretty good game as well. It's at Suncorp as well. Matty, any chance of you dropping down Sunday Arvo to watch the Finns and the Cowboys?
Which a bit of Max Plath light it up.
Oh, look, yeah, probably not. I don't watch too many Dolphins games. I'll just probably be watching it in the lounge room with a couple of tins, I'd say. Look, yeah, they're two Queensland teams, but I'm not really patriotic. I kind of hate them as rivals. So.
Fair.
There was a lot of chat out of the Dolphins camp today. Like a lot of journos on the ground, spruiking some stuff in the air, and there was a brief moment of Max Plath love, but he was named at 15. Training at hooker, so I expect him to fill in for that JMK role. But Cody Nikorima replaces Isaiah Katoa, RIP, at 6. My boy, bounce back season, unfortunately. Jack Bostock named with Tessie New in the centres as well. Ray Stone replaces the injured Tom Gilbert at lock. We expected this. At hooker, I'd rather him than Little, but I'd want to see the minutes first and foremost. That's why I'm not keen on really any of them. And as we've said, Max Plath named at 15, and Ewan Aiken has been dropped. So not a huge amount from the Dolphins, kind of as we expected as they lined up in the trial. Wayne Bennett was pretty open and honest about his team selection in that second trial, which was nice. For the Cows, though, there's more talking points out of the Cows. Zach Labart wins that vacant back row spot. There was a shootout between Sammy Vailea, Viliami Vailea, yep. Jason Tamalolo does start at prop, and Thomas McKaylee. Man.
Big sad.
I don't know what he had to do. I don't know what else he had to do, honestly.
Let's be honest, though. He only got brought up into the top 30 squad like a week ago off the back of one performance in a trial.
I was still pretty confident, because the top 30 means nothing these days. You can start from a development contract. So I was genuinely, because Fidafiliaki wasn't great and he's an edge. So unless he sees him playing some middle, or he doesn't trust Nanai/Lukey to play 80. So that's the only thing. I mean, McKaylee did everything he could to get us. I think he'll be there eventually. If you're still playing Jake Granville for 35 minutes a game and you're losing, something has to change. As much as I love Jake Granville, yeah. But yeah, Fina Fuaki also named on the bench as well. But big sad for Tom McHaley.
I've got two questions. And actually, they're both popped up in the chat, which is good. Cotter's minutes and Taumalolo's minutes. Because with Cohen Hess now obviously out for the season, who benefits from that? Where do the minutes go? Because Hess would have played, 40?
I think the big winner is Cotter, obviously. But then I do think it's Griffin Neame. Like, I think Griffin Neame is that guy to take that step up. Like, Taumalolo will be fine. People are sitting there going like, oh, look, I love narratives. But like, for you to sit there and say, oh, what if he comes back this year? What's showing you that he's going to come back? Like, we've said this for 3 years now. Like under Todd Payton, he has dropped off a cliff. Like, we need 50 minutes, and I just don't know if Taumalolo's got that in him these days. Like, I think Griffin Neame does. I don't think he's got amazing upside, but I think he's going to be better than I think he's like going to be better than Taumalolo in terms of an NRL standpoint. Lolo's probably got the better PPM, but I just can't look at Lolo. Like, I need to see it. Like, if Jai Arrows sucks again next week and Lolo's like fine, then sure. But like, I don't know if I can start with him.
It's one of the. I'd be happy to take a punt on starting with Cotter, but I think Lolo's one of those ones where it's like, let's just watch. Let's just wait and see what happens. And you pick him up in round 3 and everything's fine. It's probably going to be a sideways trade in round 3 from a guy that's shit the bed at some point. It could be an Arrow sideways trade to Taumalolo if he pops off. Who knows? So we've got flexibility.
We're going to be the happiest people alive if Lolo comes out, 3 rounds, averages 55, and, we're paying 430Ks for that. Like, I'm just not sure I see it.
And the one thing we haven't spoken about much is vibes. Imagine the vibes having Jason Taumalolo in your team averaging 55.
Oh, yeah.
And Roger Tuivasa-Sheck.
Lolo's got future vibes. Like, vibes right now, all-time low. Low vibe count for Lolo. Does Mattrix have to leave? Are we going to have to finish this as a 2-man show?
No, I've got basketball at 8 o'clock, so let's just keep.
We'll see how we go. You leave when you have to.
Yeah. I'll just walk out. I'm not saying anything.
It just disappears. Anything maybe we should ask you, anything to add on the Finns and the Cowboys? Any Ray Stone love? There's a conversation around him starting at lock, and you can pick him. He's got 2 RF hooker duel. Does that fix the hooker bench problem?
I mean, if you're that way inclined, I'm just seeing a lot of question marks. I want to see how they work Plath into the lineup. Yeah, no.
He's
Cody Nicorima's. Yeah.
No toppings.
Yeah. Like, Cody Nicorima's a utility too. Like, Plath is 5'8" eligible. Does Cody Nikorima move around? And, like, who knows? Like, and Wayne won't give it away. Not before we've seen it for 4 weeks.
Nah. I agree. I would love to have Ray Stone in my team. Give me a reason to get, as Josh would say, Ray Mustone in my team. Get him in. Would love that.
Melissa wants to know why there's a lack of beers. Because Mattrix has to play ball. Braino is drinking one, and I don't drink, so that's why there's a lack of beers. It's only a 1-man show tonight. Normally there's 2.
And it's also we're an hour and 23 minutes in, and I come in understocked. I only brought in 1 beer, and I've been trying to nurse this beer for the last hour and a half. So
Mattrix drinks enough in one episode for the both of me and him. But yeah, Braino has come in understocked today, unfortunately.
No good. Anyway. Let's move, so we can move the show along. Let's talk captains this week because there's a couple of options coming up. And shout out to Josh as well.
Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
Now, VC at the moment, the leaders of VC, when we look at Supercoach Plus, is 10.4% to Cleary, 10.1% to Kalen Ponga. The captain leaders are the same. Cleary 26.2, Ponga 20.3. Now, are they the 2 most obvious options, boys? How are we looking at captain this week, Josh?
I'm just curious on who the 10.6 that are VC and Cleary are planning on captaining.
Yeah.
Because there's not much to come after. I mean, unless you're
Sarko.
Yeah, I was going to say just a
Deal bags.
Max Plath.
Yeah, Max Plath special. Look, I made the very last minute change to jump off KP onto Turbo for the VC. And now I'm terrified. I am hoping for a 117-point affair. That's it. Not enough to loop. but still very, very good.
I'm hoping for a 217. That would be nice.
Oh, I'm not coming back on. I'm going to retire again.
I was very nervous watching Turbo though in Vegas. Like, whoa, that was a tough watch, especially when everybody else around me had this Turbo VC.
Especially when your mates have got him. Like, you want your mates to, like, because you were sitting with me and like you want me to do well, but at the same
No,
time
I
you're like,
don't really.
shit, I don't want him to do. Yeah, fuck you. You don't want him to do too well. It's like that weird in between where you own a player but you don't captain them. You want them to do well but not too well. I think the standouts this week would be Ponga v. Shout out to Rowan who put C Metcalf in the chat. I think KP is the standout vice captain. And then the question becomes, if you want SJ, I think he's a great captaincy option. But then the bigger question, the elephant in the room is, if you own Nico Hines and you get no confirmation that he's goal kicking, can you run the risk of captaincy? Because if he's not goal kicking for a week, he's not enough to not start with. But it sort of swings the captaincy debate. The Storm with no Munster was looking really enticing for a Cleary captain. But then obviously if Munster's playing, it's sort of like, like this week never really had a huge standout captain option. And that's why the Ponga straight C generally did look like a play.
Take me back. You mentioned the whole, we don't know whether he's going to goal kick. Take me back to 2023. It was round 4. They were versing the St. George Illawarra Dragons. I didn't pick Nico Hines. He didn't even need to play 80 minutes. And in round 4, he put up 180 points under an injury cloud and ruined my season in round 4.
He didn't put up 180 for my team. I believe it was.
He put up 360 for you.
For me, yes.
Yep. Because you straight captained him too, didn't you, that round?
Yeah.
Big balls.
Yeah, it was. But that's the thing. Like playing in New Zealand is not the Dragons, obviously. Can we trust Nico with this sort of doubt, or do you just straight captain Ponga?
There's every logic to straight captain Ponga, but the problem with VCing and looping this week, Matty, correct me if I'm wrong here, is that you've got so many bench AEs. Like we've got so many question marks on the bench.
Fafita, if you've got Viliami Fafita on your team, he could get 4 this week. Just know that
10 minutes and get 5 points.
Okay, then this becomes, if Ponga goes massive, like 180, does that impact who you start with? Do you then run enough? If you have a Fafita, do you then deliberately run enough if he goes bonkers?
Yes. Honestly,
I think
yes.
I think
Over
you
like
do,
a
don't you?
Fafita, yes.
You can't not take the loop. I think Fafita turns into a non-player. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think you'd have to. You'd be silly not to. But I think you'd be smarter to straight captain.
Yeah, I think straight captaining is the play. If you're not confident on Cleary against Penrith, or you're not confident against Nico, I'm sure there's some absolute sickos out there that don't own those two, and for them, very brave, and I'm proud of you. Hopefully they own Dylan Brown against the Bulldogs, or you own a Mitch Moses. But did you see enough defensively from the Bulldogs in that second preseason trial to put you on the side of caution? Or was it no Nico for the Sharks?
Yeah, I think that they're pretty good.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Bulldogs' defensive effort against
the
the
Bulldogs'
Sharks.
defense. Like, defense isn't going to be their issue. Like, Bulldogs are going to have a lot of issues this year. But yeah, defense wasn't it. They looked really good. I think I'm leaning towards a Cleary captain, even with Cam Munster. And I hate the Melbourne matchup. There's a bit of an injury cloud on Hines. I think, like, honestly, the spice in me wants to just go Dylan Brown or somebody like that. But let's just go Cleary to be safe. You know what? If I fuck it up, everybody else is captaining him.
Yeah, I'm also on Cleary, but I think if I didn't VC Turbo, I probably would just straight see Ponga. Apart from that, there's not many other captaincy options.
I'll tell you what, Dave has mentioned an option. SJ against his old team, the Sharkies.
Yeah,
and do you remember the game that he played against the Sharks last year where he kicked the conversion to win the game in the fucking pissing down wet?
Oh,
that was one of
vibes.
the all-time best games I've watched last year. So I'm all about the vibes. That's the vibe captain pick.
You know, 8 o'clock over in New Zealand, Friday night. It's going to be going off. Yeah, I think if you're an SJ, if I was to rank like probably the best options this week, I would rank KP 1, SJ 2, Cleary 3, Hines 4.
Drinkwater.
I agree with that.
Against the Drinkwater against the Dolphins.
Drinkwater's huge, but then that obviously locks you out of like if you have Drinkwater, I assume that you have one of Turbo,
Ponga.
or and all that, and that's the thing. Like, and if you've locked yourself out, if you haven't, like, fuck, fair play to you. Like, if you VC'd Cleary or Hines, Drinkwater against the Dolphins is huge. I actually forgot about that one.
The problem is most of the time Drinkwater is going to be a bench reserve. You've already had how many elite fullbacks have played already?
That's what I mean.
Like,
Like unless you lock yourself out.
Yeah,
Like,
you've had
you would-
Latrell, Teddy, like all of these guys, Turbo have already played. So, and most of the time you're going to start them.
You would have had to, because obviously, with the golden rule of reserving, like you always play your later players at the reserve. Like you would have had to plan for Drinkwater to be your So that's the only. downside.
I mean, if you were like, we weren't looking at getting Drinkwater, but if you had Drinkwater in your team, you probably knew they were playing the Dolphins round 1. So
yeah, of course. And you knew they were playing last. But then that's the thing. Like if you own Drinkwater and KP, like I love the matchup for Drinky, but like I just can't pass up KP. I think he's the number 1 option. I think, okay. Let's add K. Let's add Drinky into the mix. So I think KP 1, SJ 2, Drinky 3. Cleary 4, Hines 5, Brown 6. Brown / Moses, whoever Eels half, you have 6. So they're my rankings.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Let's quickly move on to. We're going to have to skip a couple of things. We'll move on to the Punters Club because we've got bets to make. We've put bets on, and we've got to do it every week. So let's move on.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
You two are absolute frauds. Absolute frauds.
Yeah, we've dragged the chain.
Last week, under 42.5 for Braino goes 70. Mattrix minus 5.5 for the Broncos. They couldn't even win. Plus 5.5, they still lost. Bums. Only one person won. That was me with Manly at $2.10. The biggest odds of the bet. You both let me down. I'm just
we were not good.
disappointed.
We were not good. Anyway, I'm going to bounce back this week. I'm going to take the Knights at minus 7.5, $1.89. I think the Knights at home against the Raiders, who are in a 3-man race for the spoon this year. I think we know the Knights play much better at home. I'm backing them in for a big win. I know they looked a little bit scratchy in the trials as well, so I just feel like they've got those cobwebs out. I'm gonna back them in. I think 7.5 is a nice line as well. Anything more than maybe 8.5, 9.5, I'm not touching it. But I think 7.5 is nice because that's just a try and a conversion.
Well, Radio Buckley's giving you the seal of approval. He said the Raiders are truly awful. No mincing his words there.
I'm with you, Radio Buckley. What's your bet, Josh? What are you going with?
I've gone for the last game of the round. Scott Drinkwater Masterclass. Cowboys minus 5.5 at $1.90. And Mattrix.
Yeah, so I've got the Eels minus 6.5 against the Doggies, even though I think it's an improved defense. I think, Parramatta's attack will roll over them.
What's
take that to the bank at $7.32 Centurinos.
What's Eels minus 5.5 paying? If 6.5's at 2.04, is 5.5 like $1.70?
Yeah, it would
be
because
$1.87, I think.
Because you got that 5.5 to 6.5 is a huge.
Yeah, it's a conversion. Yeah. Gotcha. Don't mind it.
That's the tally. We're down $10 as we speak. Hopefully we will get out of the hole this week.
Yeah, bad start. Just a warm up, boys. We're good. Let's move on to the questions and wrap this one up.
It's question time. Let's answer your questions for the week ahead.
All right. Ian Johnson wants some help. He's got 2 options. He's got option 1, Grant and either Hamiso or Karaz, or option 2, Robson and Marju. So that's an interesting one. My personal opinion is back in Robson and Marju purely because Marju has a bigger upside than Grant does. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm on 2.
Matty?
Yeah. I'm on the first one because I think that you can make a bit of money out of Hamiso. I don't think you can make much money out of Robson. He's going to be a plotter. And I think Marju is priced at value at max. I think Hamiso can still make 70K. And Grant's the best hooker in the game. So I'm going to go option 1 with Hamiso.
Very cool. Boys, there's a bit of interest in Flanagan. We've kind of expressed our interest in Flanagan being fuck all. Priced at 30 at 5.8, scores upwards of 45 in 80 minutes, still doesn't scream.
Matrix
Buy me.
in the bin.
Yeah.
Mattrix's favourite. For anybody who doesn't understand that joke, it's his favourite GIF in nearly every chat that he's in.
Whenever
He
he
will send
disagrees
someone
with
to the
anything.
bin once a day. Yeah. Once a day, someone goes to the bin.
If I'm the person that made the chat for starters, I send them to the bin and then just delete them from the chat and add them 10 minutes later.
We've had a lot of people actually sent from the chat completely. It's good value, but they get added back. It's okay.
Yeah.
Crazy Praying Mantis, Ray Stone at hooker. We kind of talked about him. Do you guys want to dive into a bit
Very
deeper? Or
boring. Very boring, but
meat and potatoes kind of stuff? Yep.
Sure.
Knights bench screams Adam Elliott, Craig Paul. Bit of interest there. What do you reckon?
I mean, you're talking to his number one fan, but I don't know. Like, I just need to see something. Like, the trial didn't impress me. The Knights bench is great for him. We knew it would be. I think he'll play 55, 60, but I just want to see him do something.
Yeah, it's like that GIF or the meme with the guy with the stick just poking it, saying "do something." We'll just chuck Adam Elliott down the bottom in a GIF, and we'll post that. Supercoach Guns, he's got a real conundrum on his hands here. He's wanting to know, should he captain Cody Ramsey or Kale Iro? He should delete that.
I would just focus on actually fixing your 25 first and foremost before being a smartass.
Dre wants to know Tuapiki, Chan, or Strange as last reserve. My vote goes with Strange.
My vote goes with Chan just because he's early on. I just prefer a little bit more consistency.
You're going to pick Tuapiki, aren't you, Mattrix?
Yeah. Yeah. I just think fullback in a good New Zealand team that made the semi-finals.
Oh, Dre.
So Dre, that's what we're here for, man. If you need any other tips, just hit us up.
Exactly when we run a poll on Twitter and it just gets 50-50 votes.
You did another 50-50 today. The one that I voted on was 415 votes, and it was 50-50 on the dot. Whatever your last one was.
on the Hughes on the Henry versus Pharmaceutical.
Yep. 50-50 on the dot. 500 votes. Outstanding. Adam, listening in at midnight. Thanks for watching, mate. Hughes or Palacia as second front row forward? It's got to be Hughes. Yep. Thoughts on Brayley with the Sharks bench? We spoke about the McInnes impact there and the word that he was going to play some minutes at hooker, so we can move on from that. Carraz or Val Holmes, boys? My pick's Val Holmes.
Oh.
I think it's worth paying the extra 120, Matty. Do you agree?
Yeah. I
Better
think so,
attack
but like,
side.
Yeah, goal kicking.
But like, if it's the difference between, like, my problem is not, of course, it's going to be Holmes. But like, if you've got a Viliami Fafita and you can get up to a safe path with that 120, then I'm saying Carraz. So
That's
like,
it's like, oh, do I start with Robson or Grant? I mean, obviously you start with Grant, but it's a case of like, what does the money do for you? But if the money means nothing to you, Val's strong side attacking, goal kicking in a better attacking team.
Yep. Sora, it's Trap City, gentlemen, and I'm the mayor. Let's go, Levi.
Yeah.
There's so much Levi support in this chat. It's incredible. It feels like prime 2023 Hudson Young before Origin vibes. And I'm scared as fuck.
We're gonna be the best podcast or the worst?
Or the worst. Yeah. The views are going to drop to like 20. Brayley getting 80. We spoke about that. No love for Palacia. Sorry, Levi. Hopefully you play better. Yeah, play better on the weekend.
He's just not that good.
He's just a bit shit, isn't he?
Yeah, just not a good football player, as Mattrix would have said last year to about 25 starting NRL players.
I wouldn't have
just
said
not
it to
very
their
good at
face.
football. Yeah, no, just behind their back. Steezer wants to know where Mitch Kenny is and what the go is with Summerton.
Having some lines on Christmas Eve.
Yeah,
Boxing Day
he's going to
lines,
get in a
sorry.
bit of trouble on Instagram.
He's
Mitch
out
Kenny.
for a week, so no.
Yeah, he'll be definitely back next week. Interesting, no Sonny Luke. Where's he gone?
Mate, I tell you what, I love fantasy players because I got so many questions today being like, do you think Mitch Kenny like comes back next week? Like, nah, bro. Like their hooker that's played 80 minutes for the last 4 years and is like their most like reliable defensive player. Nah.
Just played in the World Club Challenge. Yep. He's meeting up with Kalen Ponga in one of those cubicles in Newcastle.
I love fantasy players. They're the best.
So many questions about Ray Stone. We're going to have to skip through all of them. Lomax on the wing and kicking goals. Yeah, it's still the Dragons. Yeah, no guessing. Sorry, Ian, no guessing the player tonight. We're just running short on time because Maddie's got to get to basketball.
Ian. Yeah, I had one
You just
idea.
can answer questions. Don't mind
They've
me.
shafted it after 1 week.
Nick
He'll be back
Kotrick,
next
boys. job security issues for Nick Kotrick with Seb Chris coming back next week.
I don't
Or
know
the
what
week
this
after.
Raiders backline looks like. Like, who drops out? Is it Apawate? Is it, not Tim McCall, but is it Savage? Is it Kotrick? Like, I don't know. Ricky came out and said, Rapiter's my fullback. But Rapiter was like, I hate playing fullback. So I don't know what the fuck to believe. Like, I don't know.
Never believe anything that Ricky says.
I don't think Ricky. Yeah, I don't think Ricky knows is probably the problem. But Nick Kotrick's got a bit of James Schiller about him.
Yes. In the chat, someone said, like in one of our chats earlier today, they were like, do you think Strange gets named at 6? And I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Starling was named at 6. Just because.
Papali'i named at 6.
Just a big body. Just a big body there, yeah.
Quick one for Timmy. First draft question we've had tonight. Playing fantasy draft. He has Burbo, or he doesn't have Burbo, but Burbo's a free agent somehow. I have no idea how that's happened, but he's a free agent, but he's currently locked. When does that become unlocked? It just depends on the settings in your draft, really, and what your waiver timing is. So could be a day, could be 2 days.
But
it should tell you when they become.
Yeah,
it should tell you when they come off waivers.
Yeah, especially in fantasy because fantasy centers are dead in fantasy. So just check your settings. Some of them are midnight on a Tuesday, some of them midnight on a Wednesday. No one knows.
Yep. Rowan, very important question here. Commissioner of the Tipsy Trades League wants to know whether he should have Asahi, Sapporo, or Kieran as his last reserve. My vote's Asahi.
No. I'm a big Kieran fan. I really like him.
Am I the only white Aussie guy who thinks Asahi is not good?
Yeah, that's
yes.
all right.
Asahi is the Sunny Luke of Oriental beers.
Oh, that's slander. That's a big slander.
Have you had Tiger?
Have I had Tiger?
Yeah, Tiger's ass. Yeah,
I've had Tiger. Tiger's not good. There's a reason why
Tiger's like the 4x gold of.
Good. Lane or Lukey, boys?
Lukey, but I don't love it. Like I want both.
Both.
Yeah, just pick both.
Both is the
Find a way to get both.
If you can't, Lukey.
Jonathan Davis's first Supercoach season, so he's trying to learn. Is it best to save 190k for the trade for May next week? The answer is yes.
Don't just save the money. Like, don't just be like, because so many people every preseason they're like, save some money. Why? Ask yourself why you're saving it. So 100k out of that's yes, but then like the 90k. Is there someone you can upgrade? If not, then yeah, hold it.
That was a question with my team. I was like, I could downgrade Grant to Appy. But what am I going to do with it? There was nothing that I could do aside from upgrade my plotter 2RF of front row forward 2 to a Max King. I'm like, how many points do I actually gain from going Spencer Lenu to Max King?
I can go Grant to Robson, which allows me to go Chan to Curran, which that's a good upgrade. But it'll depend on Chan. Like that's the main thing. So ask yourself what you're doing with the money. I've got 250k in the bank. 100 of that's going to Terrell May. But I don't know what to do with the other 150.
First world problems.
I'm out.
All right,
thanks,
mate.
See ya. Last one for us: salmon or Bostock? You can answer this one, Josh.
The fish, yeah, probably. If he plays 50 minutes, probably salmon.
I think so as well. Yeah, that's my vote. I think you got a guy that's going to play at lock. You can play him in the center wing. It's safe. So that'll do.
First week's always going to be long because we've got a lot to chat about. But,
that's right. It'll be easier next week. We'll get a bit of a flow as well. We're also going to start to change things up in terms of the way that we deliver these lives. So we're going to do a bit more of a wrap up on a Sunday. It'll either be me or it'll be Matt or it'll be two of us or Josh will go solo. Fuck knows. We'll work it out.
All of them in the contract?
No, probably not. No. I wrote that in last night. You saw that. So, but one of us or two of us will talk to you on Sunday and we'll pop a little bit of a weekly wrap up just so that the live is focused on the week ahead. So we'll bring you that.
Just because even today, like we only wrapped up 2 games and it was 45 minutes until we got into the preview. So
yeah, there's so much to talk about.
Yeah, we're still learning. Like obviously with 3 people, we're going to have 33% more conversation coming in as well. So we're still learning as we go, and these early rounds will be good for that. But yeah, we'll probably do a small wrap up on the weekend, and then much more of a preview style on a Tuesday, and we'll have all the games and stuff that you guys like as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's it.
Agent Cheese says Sundays are vibes and preparing the race trades, which are exactly what Sundays are for.
100%. That's it.
Planning 5 trades and then not making any of them when you calm down.
Before we wrap up, lastly, guys, if you want to know what our teams look like if you want to get insight from us from the back end, you want to ask us questions directly, you can become an Insight Unlimited member. It's only going to cost you $25 for the full year. You jump in our Discord and all of the information is in there. We're going to be doing an exclusive Insight Unlimited kind of audio question answer kind of podcast as well. That's only going to go out to those guys. So if you want your questions answered every single week and it isn't in this live and you want to get a bit more specific around what your team structure looks like, you can become an Insight Unlimited member through the Discord, and the link is in the description below to join the free Discord, and then you can see all the info in there to get signed up to Unlimited. So go and do that. But make sure you join the league as well, the Unlimited League. It's 777141. That's the code. We didn't talk about the Insight Supercoach World Cup either because we didn't have time, but all the info is also in the Discord. So you know what the end result is? Join the fucking Discord. It's as simple as that.
Everything runs through there.
Yep. Everything's in there that you need to have a cracker season. But guys, that'll do us. We'll wrap this one up. Good luck for the coming week. First game Thursday night. Hopefully plenty of green arrows for everybody when we see you next. Until then, you've been listening to the Insight NRL show. Catch you later.
Cheerio.
Yes. Thank you. Someone had to do it.